Hi, I'm Dave Farah. Welcome to MMA Fix here on the Fight Network. On this episode, I'll follow Ultimate Fighting Championship Hall of Famer Mark Coleman as he prepares for his upcoming bout against Stephan Bonnar. I'll talk to Coleman about how far the UFC has come since he first became the UFC heavyweight champion at UFC 12, what it means to fight at UFC 100, and the pressure to win this bout. Then I'll visit Forrest Griffin at Extreme Couture and discuss his new book, Got Fight, his upcoming fight with UFC middleweight champion Anderson Silva, who will once again go up to the light heavyweight division for this bout. And I'll get Forrest's thoughts on Kimbo Slice as a competitor on The Ultimate Fighter Season 10. And later, we'll show you the sexy photo shoot for RawVegas.tv's Girl of the Month, Brittany Cal Williamson. Now for the latest MMA news. The long-awaited Carano-Cyborg title fight is set for August the 15th. The mega fight between Gina Carano and highly touted Brazilian expert Chris Cyborg Santos will headline the August 15th Strikeforce card on Showtime from the HB Pavilion in San Jose, California. The Carano-Santos tilt will determine the first ever Strikeforce female 145-pound champion to be contested over 5 5-minute rounds. The card will also feature the highly anticipated lightweight title rematch pitting Josh Thompson against Gilbert Melendez, and a heavyweight title fight between champion Alistair Overeem and Brett the Grim Rogers is also rumored. The Strikeforce promotion will once again head east. The California-based promotion has confirmed that it will return to St. Louis for an event in the near future as it hopes to further its eastern expansion. St. Louis proved to be a successful market for Strikeforce as over 8,800 fans packed the Scott Trade Center for the June 6th Shields vs. Lawler showdown. Arlovski and Feijão are medically suspended. The heavyweight Andre Arlovski and light heavyweight Rafael Feijão Cavalcante, both favorites to win their respective fights on the June 6 Strikeforce card, have been issued 60-day medical suspensions for precautionary reasons. Both suffered losses, with Brett Rogers crushing Arlovski less than a minute into their battle, and AKA standout Mike Kyle dispatching Feijão in the second round. Arlovski's 60-day suspension has forced the cancellation of his scheduled June 27th professional boxing debut at a Golden Boy production show. WEC 41 sets a record. The event on June 7th, which was headlined by Uriah Faber versus Mike Brown for the WEC Featherweight Championship, has set a company record as over 12,700 fans packed the Arco Arena in Sacramento, California for a live gate of over $815,000. The show broke both attendance and gate records and is also expected to set a WEC ratings record on Versus. Pulver is the highest earner even in defeat. Despite coming out on the losing end of his featherweight bout against Josh Grisby, Jens Pulver earned the most of any fighter on the WEC 41 card with a base salary of $31,253. In comparison, Grisby earned $17,381, which includes a $9,000 win bonus. Featherweight kingpin Mike Brown pocketed $25,256, $13,000 of which was a win bonus, and Uriah Faber took home only $25,790. Faber also underwent hand surgery after he broke his right hand, and his left hand is reportedly very swollen from the fight as well. The Sengoku 9th battle heats up. It was announced last week that Pride and UFC veteran Akira Gono has signed with World Victory Road and will debut at Sengoku 9th battle on August 2nd. His opponent has yet to be announced. The card will feature Satoru Kitaoka defending his lightweight crown. Plus, the semifinals and finals of the Sengoku Featherweight Grand Prix will take place. In other action, the #1 contender for Jorge Santiago's Sengoku middleweight title will be determined, while Santiago faces Vitor Belfort on the Affliction Trilogy card a day earlier. Meanwhile, former Pride heavyweight standout Kazuyuki Fujita meets debuting Blagoy Alexander Ivanov. Ivanov will be making his professional mixed martial arts debut after a highly publicized win over Fedor Emelianenko at the 2008 Sambo World Championship. In UFC news, the first UFC gym will open in California. The Ultimate Fighting Championship and New Evolution Fitness Company have announced that Concord, California will be the home of the first ever UFC gym. An interactive tour is available online at ufcgym.com, and enrollment starts on June 17th. The gym will feature luxurious dry saunas and sophisticated cardio equipment with a variety of classes to choose from, including special self-defense classes for women and a UFC kids gym for children 14 and younger. And finally, UFC 99 took place over the weekend at the Lanxess Arena in Cologne, Germany. RawVegas.tv's favorite, Mike Swick, beat Ben Saunders with a TKO by strikes in the second round. Another fight ending in TKO was the Cro Cop Al-Turk debacle that maybe should have been contested due to an unintentional poke to Al-Turk's eye by Cro Cop, which possibly made the difference in his TKO win 3 minutes and 6 seconds into the very first round. Cain Velasquez proved that he's a real heavyweight contender by demolishing Chet Congo through 3 full rounds. Congo earned respect for trying to fight off the relentless Velasquez, but obviously was no match for the rising star. And in the main event, Rich Franklin versus Wanderlei Silva. The exciting fight went the distance, and ultimately the judges sided with Franklin, giving him a unanimous decision victory, which some MMA fans are calling controversial. But nonetheless, it was an outstanding fight for both fighters in the catchweight division. For the MMA Fix on RawVegas.tv and the Fight Network, I'm standing next to Forrest Griffin. How you doing, man?
I'm well.
Normally this doesn't happen, but Forrest actually called us this time.
That's right.
And I was in the middle of a very intense online poker game, and I rushed down here to do this interview with you.
Which doesn't surprise me.
I was actually, what's surprising is that I was winning it.
Oh, now I'm surprised.
And my wife's playing it in my absence, so she'll take over for me. How you doing, man?
I'm well, actually. I'm getting ready for my little fight and all that good stuff.
This guy Anderson Silva, kind of a good fighter from what I hear.
Is he? I don't really know that much about him. I don't know.
Honestly, are you terrified of this guy?
Yeah.
You should be.
Is that? Yeah. Thanks. Let's keep it real. All right.
No, you're a big guy. I think that you'll do pretty well against Anderson, but he's
People keep telling me that I'm a big guy and that they think I'll do pretty well. I don't believe them. I think they're out of their minds, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
He is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. It's hard to argue. But in his past couple of fights, it's been kind of lackluster. He hasn't had anyone put it on him in a little while.
I was just watching the fight with Cote, and I thought that was a pretty good fight, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't watch it with the commentators on. I watch it without, and with 9 Inch Nails playing. I think that's the key to watching fight footage.
A lot of people don't realize this. Forrest is kind of a weird dude.
Yeah, shock, yeah. I think people do realize that, actually. So I wrote a book just to make sure people know I'm a weird dude.
Yeah, the book is called Got Fight?
Yeah, it's called Don't Have an Original Title, Got Fight.
Where did the title come from?
On the front cover, there's like 30 titles that I thought would be prevalent. But it just became a joke that the title was Got Fight, just because it is so ridiculous.
What were other potential titles for the book?
My favorite was Punch Drunk, Who Moved My Nose, Death is a Journey and My Bags Are Packed, the Forrest Griffin story, Suck My Fist, Face Full of Scars, and if we did a sequel, we call it A Few Scars More. Herpes isn't just a disease, it's a way of life.
You don't seem like a book writing type. How did that idea come about?
It's just an insane sense of flattery that people would actually not only read your random thoughts, but maybe even pay money to read just nonsense that you have to say. And I've got a lot of nonsense that I try and pass off as wisdom and share with people.
So is the book worth the price? How much does it cost?
I have no idea on either of those questions. I would definitely say, and this is like kind of another good piece of advice I'm giving you, what I do is I like to cruise in Sunday around 11. After a big breakfast, I like to drink 2 or 3 cups of coffee and just read a book. It's a very short book. It's not going to take you a whole lot of time to get through. So I think you can pick it up and pretty much read the whole thing in 2 or 3 cups of coffee. And then you're out like, $10, $12 for coffee and maybe a little piece of brownie or something, and you don't have to buy the book. But if you would, try not to get brownie on the book. Somebody may actually buy it for some misguided reason.
All right, so when I'm stumbling through Barnes & Noble, what should I look for? What does the cover look like?
Shockingly enough, and I don't know why marketing geniuses thought this would sell, but a picture of my face looks like a mug shot.
Have you ever actually been arrested? Have you had a mugshot taken of you?
I've been arrested a couple times, yeah. Twice. Just twice, yeah.
So in comparison to your real mugshots, would you say that the cover of the book looks better or worse?
I've never gotten to see my real mugshots. They don't offer them to you, trust me. It's not like I give them $5. It's not like going down to Kiko's and they just give you like little headshots for your passport.
Give me your thoughts on Kimbo Slice being a contestant on The Ultimate Fighter 10.
There's obviously some curiosity, it's bringing some excitement, if nothing else, to the show. It's making people want to watch and want to see.
But do you think that Kimbo will actually perform well in the UFC if he makes it there?
Well, we'll see. I really don't know. Guy's 35, 36, 37, something like that. It's hard to pick up new things at that age. His stand-up's pretty good, but it's hard to pick up, wrestling and ground skills.
What about his huge beard? Do you think that helps him?
It doesn't hurt him. If I could grow a big beard,
You should do that.
I can't grow a beard.
You can't?
Well, not really.
I'm with you.
Grow some fierce neck hair.
I'm the same way. I can grow a scarf of neck hair, but I can't grow a beard.
It actually connects to my chest. It's really horrible.
I think that you could. You're kind of a hairy guy.
I know, man. You think, oh, the one place I'd want hair, you can't have it. Because if I really could grow a beard, I would have a huge beard and just never shave it. Because, you kind of know that I'm a lazy son of a gun.
Let's talk UFC 100, couple of huge fights. First, Brock and Frank.
Obviously, Frank's got a win over Brock, but it was one of those things where things looked pretty bad before he got that submission. I know he's working hard. I've actually gotten to work with him a couple times because he is a southpaw. I know he's going to bring a good game plan, and I think if he's healthy, he can do it. Brock's one of those guys. He's so big, so athletic that it's not that he doesn't work hard. He does work hard, but it seems like he's never really faced adversity, or he's never been the underdog a day in his life. He's always expected to win, you know? Can you kind of see what I'm saying? Sure. So it's hard to root for a guy that just seems so,
One of your great friends, Stephan Bonnar, is fighting Mark Coleman. That's an interesting matchup.
It is. That's crazy. Stephan's got such a great reach, and I think as long as Stephan really comes in shape, ready to fight the takedown and scramble back to his feet, he can beat the big man in the scrambles.
Let's talk about the light heavyweight champion of the UFC right now, Machida. Spooky dude.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with that guy. Keep him away from me. We were talking about drinking urine. Speaking of drinking urine, which we were talking about, Machida drinks urine. It's the melanin, and it's got antibiotic. I don't know. It's magic. I would drink Machida's urine. It's done wonders for him. My urine is gross. It's full of toxins and crap. But I think Machida, he probably eats pretty healthy. I'd drink his urine.
So you're saying that Machida has magic pee?
Not from the source itself. This has gone too far. I'm sorry. I apologize.
All right, let's talk about the fight with Anderson Silva again, because everyone's buzzing about this. I mean, how are you going to beat this guy? What's your game plan right now?
All right, well, I've got my camp putting Visine in his water. And that's step one. He's going to be shitting himself throughout the entire fight. 2, groin kicks.
You should grease.
Grease. Yeah, I've always kind of greased a little bit. Like, I like a little grease on my ears, and maybe, But I never greased my ankles or legs or anything like that. It seems almost like a bad idea.
But even with just the ears, I don't know if that's legal, because you do have arguably the biggest ears in MMA.
Well, yeah, it's not legal at all. But I like to grease my head because it gets stuck in places, and it hurts. Like, these things hurt.
Are you emulating Anderson Silva at all with training partners here?
No, I'm not even trying. Nobody does a very good Anderson Silva. Like, nobody's really good at it. It's just like, you guys suck at being Anderson Silva. I've actually said that. Like, you're horrible Anderson Silva.
So what's next after Anderson Silva? Are you looking past this guy at all?
Oh, yeah, he's nothing. He's looking past him. After him, I'm gonna get married, actually, like an actual wedding and stuff. That's what I'm gonna do. No, I'm not looking past Anderson Silva.
You're really gonna get married?
I think I'm already married, but yeah, no, I'm gonna get married this time. I mean it.
Yeah, you said that like 2 months ago, or 9 months ago, or a year ago, or something.
Years ago, actually. But you know what? The thing is, I figure once you propose and that's accepted, they do everything from there, right? That was my thinking, was that they just make that happen. And they just, like, tell you to show up at a certain day at a certain time, and then it's done. Like, I thought it was kind of a simple deal. I didn't realize that there were so many ins and outs.
Once again, maybe a case of lack of planning?
But I'm not going to plan. That's not – I'm planning on getting beat up by Anderson Silva. I can't plan a wedding, too. I can't do everything.
Oh, wait, so you're planning to get beat up by Anderson Silva?
Oh, yeah, he'll probably beat me up. But, I could still win the fight. Even fights I win, I get beat up in. This is how I roll.
All right, man. Well, best of luck in your fight against Anderson Silva. Best of luck with the new book. This is exciting. I'm happy for you. It's a big accomplishment.
Good luck to you. It's good to hear you back on the radio, too. I was actually really disappointed when you were gone. I was not that it I was gonna cry or be emotional about it, but I think the guys that took your place sucked. Had they been better than you, I would have been cool with it, but they weren't.
That's what I'm into. Very small, meaningless impacts on people's lives.
I like that. I think I could do that too one day if I play my cards right.
Forrest Griffin, Dave Fair, you're watching MMA Fix. Thanks.
I don't know why you're doing it. You should stop watching. It's wasting your time. Your life is ending right now. You could be looking at porn.
My name is Master Mir Khan Maidi. They call me Persian Warrior. I'm the heavyweight champion of the world and founder of the Shinda Kumite.
Prize Fight MMA and Fight Force International present Ultimate Chaos. Live on pay-per-view is former WWE star Bobby Lashley and K1 legend Bob the Beast Sapp square off in the main event. A loaded undercard features heavyweight contenders Gilbert Yvel and Pedro Rizzo in a crossroads matchup. It's Ultimate Chaos. Lashley versus Sapp, Saturday, June 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern, live on pay-per-view. To order, contact your pay-per-view provider.
For the MMA Fix, my name is Dave Ferris, standing alongside a legend, Mark the Hammer Coleman. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, thank you.
It's very nice to talk to you. I feel like you're a pioneer of the sport. You're somebody who's been a part of this game longer than almost anybody. Why don't you take us back a little bit to UFC 10, UFC 11, when you're first starting out in the game?
The good old days, for sure. No rules. That's the way I liked it. For the benefit of the sport, they had to change the rules. Now I'm just really excited where the sport is now.
Do you ever miss the tournament structure? Did you enjoy that?
I sure did, because I came from an amateur wrestling background and we used to have to go 4 or 5 matches a day. I felt like I got better as the night went, but I don't think it would be possible today.
Speaking on the old tournament style and the no rules of the UFC, is there any one rule that you wish wasn't implemented?
That's pretty obvious. I was the master at headbutting people. It changed the sport completely when they took it out. You only have 2 hands on the bottom to defend 3 weapons, my 2 hands and my head. So it was a different sport back then, and I agree that they needed to take that weapon out, but it sure was fun when it was around.
Have you headbutted anyone recently, just for the fun of it?
No, but I got a few people in mind I'd like to.
Give us one name.
I can't.
Tell us about when you first became UFC champ.
It was a very special night. Dan the Beast Severn, icon in the sport himself, Hall of Famer. But back then I was a wrestler, and I wanted to beat him and prove to him I was a better wrestler. And just to become the champion changed my life that night for the better. Great night. I'll never forget that.
Tell us what it's like to now be fighting on UFC 100.
I feel blessed, very thankful. I'm still healthy enough to do this and still good enough to do this. It's going to be a great night for a lot of people. I got a lot of people supporting me that I want to do it for them. I've been out here 50 days now. It's been a long time since I've seen them, and that's the hardest part about this. I miss my kids, and I'm doing it for them.
Give us your thoughts on how Dana and Lorenzo have taken the UFC and turned it into what it is today.
Well, I think they've done a great job. The pay-per-view buys speak for themselves, the popularity of the sport. No complaints. I'm just glad to be part of this organization. It's the big leagues, and I'm part of the big leagues at this age. It's a special feeling for me, and I plan on being around for a while still.
How did you make the transition from the old school UFC to the current UFC?
Well, it was difficult. I didn't exactly make a smooth transition. I relied on 1 or 2 weapons. They took a couple of them away from me, so I was lost for a little while. I really didn't have any consistency in my training, and I was a father first and a fighter second. And it was great seeing my kids grow up, but at the same time, I didn't learn enough, and it took a few ass whoopings. As you can see, I'm out here at Couture's, and these guys, a lot of guys really helping me out. A lot of guys want to see me succeed, and I'm grateful to all of them, and I want to win this for them as well.
Tell us about your relationship with Randy Couture.
Oh, Randy's just a great guy. I really appreciate him letting me train here. It's a great gym, nice location, great people, good atmosphere. Just a good guy all around. That's why everybody likes him.
As somebody that has your experience, you have an upper hand, but you're also battling age. You have to fight younger guys every day that have been training for literally their entire lives. How do you deal with that?
Well, like I said, I've been fortunate. I've been blessed. I'm very healthy. I haven't taken too many shots to the head. The Lord's been good to me. Experience is important. Age is just a number. If I'm willing to put in the time and dedicate myself to this sport, I can do it still, and so can anybody. Right now, I'm motivated like I haven't been for a long, long time. I lost the eye for a long time, and I got it back.
The fight with Shogun, a lot of people talked about conditioning. Both of you by the later rounds looked pretty tired. Is that something that you've addressed and you have a specific strategy for going into this next fight?
Well, conditioning is always going to be a factor in this sport. That's the number one priority in mixed martial arts. If you can't keep up with somebody's pace, you're going to lose. I didn't have a good camp last time. No excuses, my own fault. I just I didn't have nobody helping me, and I trained myself, and I can't push myself like I used to. I found that out that night. That's why I'm out here getting help, and these guys are pushing me real hard, so hopefully I've addressed that issue, and I plan on being a factor in this weight class.
Double jab. 3. Find him.
Arguably the best camp on the planet. Extreme Couture is the place to train if you want to win, it seems. What about the fact that this is also Stephan Bonner's training grounds?
I've been trying to avoid people he trains with, and he's been probably avoiding people that I train with. So I guess it is a factor, but so far we haven't crossed paths, and he's working on his wrestling, but I don't think he can learn wrestling in any short period of time. And my stand-up's a lot better than people think it is, for sure.
Well, what's the strategy with Stephan? Because he's a tough guy. He likes to strike, and he can take a punch. How are you going to take him out?
He's a very tough guy, and I would like to show my stand-up skills, but I'm going to have to be smart this time. He's a very tall, long guy, so I would love to stand up and get. I've been dying to get a knockout sometime, but I'm going to have to stick to the game plan, ground and pound. That's what I do best, and if I'm in shape, I will ground and pound his ass. And if I have to, I'll throw some punches coming in, but I'm really looking forward to fighting somebody and showing my stand-up skills, but this time I'm probably going to have to stick to taking him to the ground and GMP, baby.
Well, your name is Mark the Hammer Coleman. I mean, go figure, right?
That's right. I'm going to hammer some people here soon.
205, is it a tough weight for you to get to, or are you feeling pretty comfortable at light heavyweight?
It was kind of fun cutting weight last time in Dublin. I hadn't cut weight in 20 years, and it kind of reminded me of my old wrestling days. I think it took a lot more out of me than I thought it would. And this time I got my weight under pretty good control again. Hopefully it'll be a little better cut for me this time, and I'll be able to handle it a little better.
Do you ever miss your heavyweight cohorts, the Fedors of the world, or the Cain Velasquez who's up and coming, or Brock Lesnar, or are those guys just somebody that you go, you know what, they're too big to compete with at this point?
Well, you got to be smart. I always said back in '96, size matters. Hoist Crazy said size doesn't matter. Well, I think he believes size does matter now, and I was one of the first guys to say that. Guys aren't 6'1", 230 anymore. There's 6'4", 280, and that's a lot of weight to deal with. So it was just a common sense decision to make that cut. I just had to buckle down on my diet, and I made the cut.
A lot of big, heavy, interesting guys are now making the transition into mixed martial arts on this upcoming season of The Ultimate Fighter. There's a lot of ex-pro football players, and, of course, Kimbo Slice. What do you think about that?
I think he's going to get his butt handed to him in there, but I could be wrong. I got a couple friends in there myself. It's going to be an exciting season, I know that. Heavyweights are always exciting. I'm glad he decided to go with the heavyweights. That's one I'll be keeping an eye on for sure. It's going to be Quentin Jackson, Rashad Evans, very interesting characters in there, and that's what the sport needs. That's what the business needs. Should be some high ratings.
Kimbo's a big guy, but he's not an enormous guy. Would you ever consider a Kimbo fight yourself?
Sure. I would love to fight Kimbo. He's not that big of a guy, really. I don't consider him a heavyweight. He's not big enough.
Give us your thoughts on the current UFC light heavyweight champion, Machida. He looks spooky against Rashad.
He is spooky. He's a special character. I think he's his upbringing, his background, I think he's dedicated, his discipline. He's good at all areas. I worked out with him before about 4 or 5 years ago, and I didn't know who he was, and I was a little frustrated that day. Who is this guy? He's well-rounded, good wrestler, good jiu-jitsu. His stand-up is so far second to none, just hard to hit. And he's going to be hard to beat by anybody.
Do you think that Shogun has a chance at him?
Hell yeah, he's got a chance. I'd say he's going to be an underdog, but don't count nobody out.
In 5 years from now, do you want to have the title around your waist, or do you want to be comfortably retired with a bunch of cash in the bank?
I'd like to still be fighting in 5 years, actually. Nobody wants to retire from something they love to do, and this is something I love doing. I don't see any other job out there that I would really enjoy doing. If I'm healthy, I'll still be fighting.
Do you like coaching? Have you ever thought about opening your own gym, anything like that?
Well, I got my team Hammer House, but it was one of the distractions I had way back in the beginning. I created the Hammer House, and I started coaching, and it was too much stress on me, too many hassles. But I love coaching. I feel like I'm a great coach, a great motivator, and with some help from some other guys, I think I'm going to produce some champions when I am retired. I will produce some champions, no doubt about it.
Once again, incredible perspective here, going from UFC 10 all the way to UFC 100. Where do you expect this sport to be in 5 years from today?
Hopefully it just continues to grow and get bigger and bigger. With Dana and Lorenzo, everybody pulling the right strings and saying and doing the right things, there's no reason it can't be as big as the NFL or any other major league sport.
Do you take credit? Because I think you should, for being a pioneer of this sport and being with it for so long.
Nah, not necessarily, but it was good to be part of it in the beginning. And if people want to give me credit, that's fine. It's an honor to have younger guys come up to me and thank me and tell me this and that. But I try to ignore it because I'm still part of this. I want to be one of the guys still. I am one of the guys. You got to think young to stay young, and I do. I think young.
Best of luck at UFC 100, Stephan Bonnar. Pleasure to talk to you, sir, and thank you for everything that you've done for the sport.
All right, thank you.
UFC 2009 Undisputed. Available now, rated T for teen.
Welcome to Fight Girl.
This is a competition.
5 of you guys are going to be going to Thailand.
And 5 of you are going home.
And now the reason you're still watching this episode of MMA Fix. A very attractive girl rolling around getting her picture taken that really has nothing to do with MMA at all. We bring you the RawVegas.tv Girl of the Month, Brittany Cal Williamson.
Hi, my name is Brittany Cal Williamson, and I was born and raised in Las Vegas. I just turned 21 in November, so I'm finally getting to see all the exciting stuff that Vegas has to offer. I started modeling full-time when I turned 21, and I've loved it ever since. I work as a vignette model at Labo, and I also do a lot of modeling around town. Right now I'm currently single. I'm not seeing anybody, but I am dating. In a relationship, I look for someone who's secure in themselves, somebody who has a lot of the same interests I do, somebody who isn't afraid to get a little dirty, and somebody who's my best friend, somebody who I can tell anything to. Some of my favorite things to do are off-roading, four-wheeling, taking my dirt bike out, and line dancing. I also love camping and going out to the lake. Hi, I'm Brittany Cal Williamson, and I'm your RawVegas.tv Girl of the Month.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of MMA Fix. I'm Dave Farah from RawVegas.tv and the Fight Network. Have a great night, and we'll see you here next week.
Fight last night. I don't really remember what happened.
You might be fighting Pro Cup.
Hoo-ah! It looked like you were a little bit disappointed.
There's way too many skeletons in my closet.
UFC 94 betting odds. Yeah, you were wrong. They were going to fight to the death. Diego Sanchez would be the pick.
Check out MMAFix.com.
The following program contains scenes of violence. Viewer discretion is advised.